Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John Woolley, content creator for the Instagram page Make Wads Great Again, doing my bazillionth podcast episode this week, I think, with Nikki.
No.
Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. We are like cranking them out. We're like really taking advantage of quarantine here.
Holy crap. It's like the fifth day in a row. And tonight we've got the best hair, the best mustache, and the best Ugg boots in the business, Hunter
Thank you very
McIntyre with
much.
us. What's
Woo!
going on?
That is an intro, dude. That just dances off the tongue. That was a solid intro. Thank you.
No, I said it's that hair dances. Man, look at that stuff.
It's hot. For anyone who doesn't watch these videos when we post them on YouTube, you should absolutely kick on over to YouTube right now just to take it all in.
I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I've been growing this mullet out for a while, and for some reason, like my hair grows up on top probably twice the speed that the hair on my back does. So I'll get this trimmed, and it will be a normal mullet, and then a month later, it will be crazy hair on top and just moderately longer mullet on the back. So quarantine be damned. I just DM'd some lady to see if she'd cut my hair, and she's like, "No, I will not come see you." And I was like, "You just wear a hazmat suit and bring over some scissors." But my negotiation tactics aren't working too well.
No, not so good. Can your roommate just do it, or someone in the house can do? No.
Well, here's the thing. I live with these guys who I've been living on and off with for 6 years. I come out to Colorado and I'll have training camps in the summertime. And these guys are like the most rough and tumble badasses there are. And we spend majority of our time, instead of partying, we spend our energy towards training extremely hard and also fucking with the other person's day. So whether that be finding ways to make you eat bugs, cutting your hair really poorly, doing the goat. You guys ever seen the movie Waiting?
No. Yep. Wait.
Come
yes.
on.
Yeah. With
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Yeah.
Find
yeah.
different ways to expose your genitalia to somebody without making it so blatantly obvious.
Yes.
So yeah, things like that. So I wouldn't really. My friend's actually pretty good with a buzzer, but I don't trust him. Like I know
Absolutely not.
I know every fiber of his soul and body really wants to make sure that this mullet ends up becoming a buzz cut with a beaver on the back.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
No,
so I'd rather
cannot
just
trust them.
I'd rather deal with the pain that comes along with a decently bad haircut for a while longer.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely avoid that at all costs.
Do either of you guys drink booze?
Often and
You mean
on this
right
podcast,
now, or
yes.
All right. Well, if you guys are drinking booze, I'm drinking tea, so I'll go get a beer so that this actually becomes an appropriate meeting.
Good,
Yeah.
thank God.
I was like, these guys CrossFit too much. They're not going to appreciate the fact that I like to drink.
well, see, we're not professional CrossFitters, so you'll fit right in.
Yeah, I don't know about.
I might have a White Claw Limone or maybe a White Claw Mango edition. I think I'm going to go mango.
I do love the mango. I wish they would throw them in the variety pack. What
Dude,
the
they
fuck?
do. They do. There's a different kind of variety pack. We got the variety pack last night that I think was all citrus and like passion fruit flavored ones. You're probably going amateur hour with the berry flavored ones.
I got to be
listen.
honest. I didn't take you for a basic bitch, but here we go. So no,
Oh
not
my
you.
God, no,
Not-
he's the queen.
Is he?
Yes.
Wow.
Hold on
okay.
a second. This doesn't make me a basic bitch. You have to understand, when you're a large person where quantity is important, I don't like to just party by sipping. Like I take about 6 to 10 drinks down an hour until I hit the ground hard. Because I just am a quantity person in general. So
He's a man on a mission.
yeah, if I go to a bar, I always feel like awkward. If I go to a bar, I usually get like if I'm going to sit down with like my dad or my brother, I'll have like a double Maker's Marks on the rocks. But that's like a sipping booze. When it comes to like this week's an off week. Like last night, I ended up drinking like 6 or 7 beers. We were shotgunning beers. I drank 99 peppermints. Like it's just aggressive, the rate that I drink.
That is an aggressive mixture of beverages.
Yeah. So honestly, sometimes you got to pick seltzer water that has booze in it.
Well, you're hydrating and you're drinking. It's like the best of both worlds.
Truthfully, I've contacted White Claw to see if I can make a partnership with them, because I know everybody who does CrossFit and drinks booze drinks White Claw.
Yeah.
Facts. Like nobody drinks light beer anymore. I used to be a Miller High Life guy because I'm the champagne of beers.
Champagne beers, of course.
Yeah, and that's a Rhode Island beer for sure. And
Yeah.
that and Narragansetts. But then all of a sudden I realized that it was just getting between me and the party that I wanted to have. So you could probably only have like 10 to 15 regular beers, but you can have like 20 plus White Claws and still manage it. Like You know, it's kind of like flying a magic carpet. You could crash at any time, but if you ride it just right, it's a magical experience.
I didn't realize this was going to be a nutrition podcast tonight, but here we are. So this
Here
is
we
great.
are.
I feel like people want to know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, of course.
One of the biggest ways that I mess with my competitors is I let them know that I can beat them and still drink twice as much as them and their whole family at the same time.
And their whole family. You
their
throw
whole
the family in there. Damn.
Like bringing that kooky uncle of yours who lives in a trailer park.
All right, well,
contest.
Let's be fair though, Hunter. How tall are you? You're like 6'2", right? 6'3"?
Yeah.
Most CrossFitters are like 5'7". They can handle like 2 White Claws and they're hammered. So it's not a fair fight.
I've tried to get Hepner drunk. He won't do it. His wife's awesome. She'll have a glass of wine with you. I went out to a club with Chandler. Won't get drunk. Got drunk with Brooke Wells. Pretty hammered one time. I don't know if she would like me to tell that story, but she got drunk. We were all drunk. And I'm trying to think of other big name CrossFitters who've really, really partied. I don't know any of them. I can't get any of them to party. They're a very weird breed. Like, I don't understand why you want to work so hard and then be in like amazing places like Miami after Wadapalooza and then just sit there and have like a 0-calorie power rate at the nightclub. I'm like, let's make something of this. But no, they won't do it.
Well, you can go hang out with Alex and Danny. They like to drink. They like to party. I think most of these CrossFitters wait for like the Fit 8 after party and then they go crazy.
Did the Fit 8 after party, the greatest party probably of the entire year in the fitness industry, and they're drinking like seltzer water. But I don't know. I heard Travis William rips it up hard. I want to party with that guy.
That is accurate. That is an accurate statement. You guys would have a good time together.
I feel like Pat Bellner could rip a beer back pretty hard.
I'm positive Pat could. Positive.
When he came to compete against us at Tough Mudder X Championships a couple years ago, and before he came, I wanted to like find some like good trash talking content online. So I scrolled through the internet and I definitely found some pictures of him back in his party days.
Amazing.
And that guy looked like he was hammered.
Amazing. It is really scary that you went on like the deep web to find some dirt on Vellner.
Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, like, there's nothing we can really do when it comes face to face. Like the whole experience I had with CrossFit last year, and so many people want to talk shit to me. All of the shit talking happens online. Like as soon as you meet somebody face to face, it's like, all right, dude, whatever. Like you do your best job, I'll do my best job, and we'll see each other afterwards. So nobody ever talks shit face to face, even though I think that's more fun. So I had to do the internet style thing, which we had a good thing. I referenced that he looked like Cookie Monster.
What?
Yeah, I'll show you the picture. It's pretty funny.
He does look
like Cookie Monster with red hair.
Yes, please.
I can see that. I can see that. Why do you think that is, that people will talk shit online but not in person? You think they're just wimps, or they once they meet you, they realize you're a different personality than they expected, and they just don't want to go all in on you?
I think most people are keyboard warriors, to be honest. It's tough. Like, I don't know. Like, I've always been somebody who really likes – I grew up with 3 older brothers, so I really feel comfortable, like, ripping you a new one because I was the youngest of all of them. So only thing I had to my strength was words, because as soon as they got a hold of me, they were going to beat me up. So I had to really just jab with words. And I got good at saying it face to face. And I don't think people grow up in that kind of culture. At least we did. And – yeah, when people meet me face to face, I think a lot of people are like put off by me and like the supposed persona that I have. Like I'm always just a fun, happy-go-lucky, wild guy, and then they meet me face to face and they're like, "Oh, this isn't nearly as bad as we thought it would be." And yeah, like not that I'm a horrible person, but I don't know. People are pussies. I think the only person who's ever said anything to me face to face was Matt Frazier. And like he didn't say anything that rude, but at least he had the beans to like, kind of rib me a little bit before we went out there and did stuff. So, I mean, he's got the balls to back it up too, because he's the best. But for the most part, I don't know.
Well, what'd Frazier say? Now I'm dying to know.
Nothing really that wild. He made fun of me, not even at the CrossFit games. I'll send you a picture of it. It's pretty funny. He was talking shit to me, and I was about to start a race at this High Rocks race in Miami. And I don't even really know what he said, but he just kind of basically teased me about the games and asked me how much money I was going to make. And I said $7,500. He's like, I won't even get out of bed for $250,000. And he basically laughed at me. And then I just stood next to him, and I got a picture of us standing next to each other. And I was like, I just want to remind you that you're a hobbit, and I guess it's worthwhile getting paid to be short. And so, I got a picture of him standing next to me looking like a hobbit, and he got a good rib at me for, my sport being basically paid in food stamps while he gets paid big checks.
Well, to be fair, he's the only one getting big checks.
Yeah.
He's a funny dude, though. A few
He's
times
intelligent, cool to hang out with. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's good. No, it's just I always had like this impression of him that because he was the top dog, that he was kind of a snob, and then I met him and I'm like, shit, this guy's funny. Like, he's got a good sense of humor. He's he's just super hardworking. So
he's just super normal. Like, he's just like a normal dude that's into what he's into, and he like doesn't give a shit about the other bullshit.
Yeah, I think you also have to put a shield up when you're number one, or at least contending to be number one. You can't just be so lax around everybody, because I think that will potentially allow them to open up to maybe finding weaknesses in you, or it will take your focus off having your eye on the prize. And especially if you're the number one contender, like, I actually love pressure and I love talking to people because it allows me to get more revved up. Some people will come unraveled, and I'm not saying that's necessarily him, but I definitely noticed a lot of competitors where they get quiet around competition. They need to isolate, and they need to say less to do more. So that might be his strategy. I don't know. But for the most part, he's pretty analytical. I think he knows what he's doing like 10 steps ahead before everybody else does.
Yeah, totally.
Is the whole trash talk thing common in OCR, or is that just you?
That's just me. Everyone in OCR is just half of them are Mormon, and the other half have children or married, and they kind of have just settled down into a certain lifestyle. And I'm not like some kind of party playboy by any means, but like, even if I had 10 kids and I was going to church every single day, like my dad, I'm one of 4, and my dad goes to church every single day. Like, he still talks shit, and he's still a wild man, but he has a certain moral code. So I don't know. We just live by a different standard than other people.
That's awesome. Well,
I'm still trying to get into the WWE. That's my ultimate leap towards true happiness. Yeah.
Why?
4 years ago, they offered me a job. And I turned it down because I was still really in like the heat of battle with all the other stuff I had going on. But if I had to be honest, like, I don't know, I'm almost 6'3". If I stretch, I'm 6'3". Right now I'm 210 pounds of just pure muscle, and I talk shit really well. That's like the perfect avatar for being in the WWE. And I can literally run circles around people physically and mentally. And that's kind of what I've done for my entire career, but it doesn't really fit in so well being like a hotshot shit talker in CrossFit, or being a hotshot shit talker in obstacle course racing. It doesn't hold its place. Like, they're capacity based sports that are meant to, like, have a start to finish kind of thing. And it doesn't have cameras on it in the way that, like, a sport, like if you were in the WWE or you're in hockey or football, like, you got your time and you can really get a little bit more physical. And it's more of a commanding physical presence, where the other sports are more like, hey, how well can you row or walk on your hands? Like, that's not the domineering attitude that I kind of have. So I think it would be a dream come true. Like, I still stay in touch with a lot of people in the WWE, and it might be something like, let's say for some reason obstacle course racing takes such a huge hit from this thing that it just doesn't recover and doesn't have a space for professional athletes for at least another season or two. I'm going to have to do something. Like, I'm not ready to go back to being like a trainer or go working on Wall Street with my family. Like, I still have a couple more years of being a dude doing macho stuff.
So that's the ultimate goal, is WWE.
Probably, yeah. I have a tattoo of Macho Man Randy Savage on my ribs, and
amazing.
Yeah, like I'm a humongous fan of wrestling. I'm not a fan of wrestling in the way that, like, I go and watch the shows. I'm a fan of wrestling in the way that they're characters, they're specimens, and they entertain people. Like, the entertainment industry, like, you guys all probably like to watch movies. You guys all probably like to watch sports. You put the two of them together, even though there's smoke and mirrors and everything like that. I've gone to the Super Bowl, and I've been there, and people just drink beer and talk and don't really give a shit about the game. I went to a WWE Raw match at the Staples Center, and 40,000 people were on their feet for the entire 2 hours, like losing their shit. So, you know, to me, if I'm going to be part of anything, I'd rather be in the WWE than all of a sudden than being let's say he is even a top end wide receiver for the NFL. I don't think it's as cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, but different strokes for different folks.
I think that mustache has got you halfway there, dude. I think you snap a selfie real quick and send it to your friends over there right now. They'd be like, when can you start?
Honestly, I'm just trying to kind of work the He-Man / ravishing Rick Rude kind of look. And that right there is pretty much a shoo-in for any kind of job.
Amazing.
Have you come up with your wrestling name yet? You need a good wrestling name.
I'd probably have to just go in as the sheriff, to be honest, man, because I have a tattoo badge. I have a tattoo of the sheriff on my chest. It's like, how can you avoid that? I thought about all these other names, and I was like, hey, listen, like, you don't – like, Ronda Rousey came from MMA. She didn't, like, all of a sudden create a character. She's still the rowdy Ronda Rousey. Like, you know, that's who she is. I don't know what the hell happened to her. I think she's still getting her ass beat in the WWE, too. But that'd be it, dude. I'm just a man. I'm stepping in as is.
Just take it for what it is.
Yeah. Give you a 5-star beatdown, baby.
I think you should make that happen.
Could you guys tell me, because I can't get the information out of anybody, is the CrossFit season over?
Wait, why would you think that we would know?
Yeah, we don't know shit.
Don't know. You guys you interview people all day long. You were just talking to a CrossFit Games athlete yesterday, one of the top CrossFit Games athletes in the world, who likely has a chance of winning the games. So I feel like those kind of people have to be in the know somewhat. Then you'd probably ask them the question, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't think anyone is in the know. That's just it. Like, ain't nobody know what the hell is going on right now. All we know is that Dave Castro and the CrossFit Games have said that somehow we will crown a winner of the CrossFit Games. I'm like air quoting CrossFit Games this year because we don't know what it's going to look like, where it's going to be, with what contestants, like with who qualified, with the sanctionals that were canceled, and no one could go from there. And it's like a giant fucking mess. So we don't know. To answer your question.
From a financial and legal standpoint, if I had to guess, they will bring it back to the ranch because they own the property.
Mm-hmm.
And they will minimize it to only cameras and staff who sign a piece of paperwork that say that if your health is compromised during this time, you know, it's your own fault and you accepted this. Not your own fault, but you accepted that this is a possibility.
It's your fault.
This is your problem.
God.
Suffer. And it would be hosted there because it'd be like, you know, having like a private CrossFit event in your backyard with all the best athletes in the entire world. And if I had to guess, they'll only bring the pros, like just like what they did a couple of years ago. They'll only bring the 20 people who have won the Open and the, like, you know, 5 sanctionals that happened. Otherwise, it would just be a nightmare.
And that's kind of what I think too. I think that anyone who didn't qualify or was still planning on qualify, like, sorry. And then national champions, no way. I don't think the age groupers have a chance of getting out there either. And I'm kind of with you. I don't even know if like staff would be at full capacity. I think it's just, I'm like, then I wonder, like, well, what about like coaches and shit? Like, can they not go? Like, if you're an athlete, you can't bring your coach. Like, I don't know.
No, it's gonna be bare bones.
Yeah.
I think they should bring back the wild cards.
Damn right.
Yes, I want to watch you take on that hill run at the ranch, dude.
Dude.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I kick myself in the Johnson every single day. Like, if you look right there, I keep my jersey right there every single day because, yeah, not because I'm proud. So I sit here and I do work in this beanbag chair every day, and I look at that jersey to remind myself that I fucked up, and then I keep a world record check above my head to remind myself when I go to bed and I look this way that I'm still a world record holder.
Okay.
So when I start the day, I remember that I remind myself that I'm not the best in the world. And when I go to bed, that I remind myself that I've still done some pretty spectacular stuff and I shouldn't stress too much. So
why do you say you fucked up? Why does that jersey make you feel like you messed up?
Listen, I am not a CrossFit Games caliber athlete to go through the traditional form of entry. So I got in through a way that was totally legal based on the rule system. I think that I should have been able to show my capacity at least in a better fashion than I did. I didn't train, I guess, walking on my hands enough in enough environments because I practiced going over the staircase and down the rubber ramp, and I practiced doing parallettes, and I practiced walking on my hand into muscle ups and then back out of muscle ups and doing 100 feet unbroken. But, I never once, it's my own fault, did I go work out on turf like half the events are at the CrossFit Games. And I'm a smart fucking guy. I'm a really smart guy. Like I analyze every event I go to so much that I guarantee that I'm going to win with almost all certainty. And I don't know why I didn't do that. I don't know why. I only went to a track like 4 times in the whole year period to run around the track. And then I remember I did about a week and a half before the games, I almost tore one of my hamstrings doing a stupid workout, just practicing what it was like to sprint on turf and cut. And that's the only time I was on turf. And now looking back, the first 2 workouts were on turf. I was like, fuck, you idiot. So that's why I'm disappointed. I don't think that I should have had any kind of different results than I did because everybody was tested by the same rules and same workouts. But if I could go back, I wouldn't even change. I could literally go to the games right now and do better if I just walked on my hands without even training CrossFit regularly over the past 8 months.
Well, I thought you did great at games. I was very impressed at how long you were able to hold on and the events that you took on. I thought you did really well. And so
thank you.
Proud moment from me watching you, but I can understand why, given everything you've gone through and given how analytical you are about most of the events that you attend, I can understand why you'd look at it and be like, fuck.
I think everybody was impressed. I don't think there was anyone that was disappointed or thought you didn't do well. I mean, I everyone I talked to that weekend was like, all right, this guy can really throw down. Like they were impressed by what you did.
I can pick up weight and put it back down again real fast.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not sitting here like a woe is me kind of thing. I'm just a competitor. I don't think there's one person on the planet who would show up in my position and say, I wish I could have done it a little bit differently. But at the same time, it's like, all I did was take about a month off and I was back to running professionally again. So now I'm back in full swing. If it wasn't for this, I would have been running, I would have, had a world title under my belt. Like hypothetically, I would have had a world title under my belt 2 weeks ago. So I'm back to competing. I was hoping to go back and compete at the Asbury Park Games in the elite field. And try to see if I could get a last minute shoe-in spot for the games this year. So it's still a piqued interest. It's still not, but it's not my whole one soul's desire.
Well, right now Asbury is the only sanctional that's still on. So
fuck yeah, I got my seat there. I'm still training like it's potentially happening. Haven't walked on my hands much though, so I guess that's probably something I should pick up immediately.
Fool me once.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but maybe I'll see you there because I came in 5th or 6th or something in the team not elite division.
Bring White Claw. Let's party.
Division. Yeah, let's roll.
So Nikki, I never told you this, but back before Hunter got the wild card, he's friends with Spencer. And Spencer gave me his number and hooked us up. And he reached out to me because he knows I knew Glassman. He's like, hey, help get my name in the mix. Like, that was when he was trying to get in front of people and meet people. So I reached out to Glassman's team well before Armin did. Well, I mean, this would have been probably a month and a half before Armin put you in front of them easily. And I shot it over. I'm like, hey, you guys got to look at this guy. Like, he's the guy. And then I think Armin came in behind me and was like, put you on the map. And truthfully, I found the whole thing last year really, really funny. Watching all the CrossFitters get so butthurt about you coming in because nobody knew what you could do. Nobody knew how fit you really are. They're just like, all right, this guy's OCR. He's going to come get his ass kicked. And then all the shit everybody was talking between, the time you got the wild card to the games. And, so I feel bad that you feel bad about how you did because truthfully, I think you killed it.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks, bro.
From end to end. And now you're killing that mustache. So that's even better.
Listen, man, honestly, You gotta get out there, and then you gotta upgrade. So honestly, if I came back to the games with 0 CrossFit training and just this mustache, I guarantee I would have been bumped into the next bracket.
For sure. 100%.
100%. That's probably what happened. I was walking so fast on my hands, and I didn't have anything. Like, you know how sports cars have that whale tail in the back to kind of keep the tires down? If I had this mustache down, it would have kept the right trajectory, so I could have walked faster on my hands. That's probably my biggest mistake right there.
Maybe that's my mistake too. I'm terrible at handstand walks. Maybe I should let my mustache grow out.
Grow it out, bro.
I'm just thinking of all the endorsements you would get with that mustache. I mean, there's Pornhub. They'd probably endorse you like right off the top.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. You know,
they'd cancel your membership and give you a free membership.
Yeah, that's better than an endorsement.
You know that Pornhub has free porn right now. They announced it a while ago. At first it started in Italy. They're like, we understand that people are stuck at home. We know you want to like all go out and have a good time, get naked with your friends, do whatever you want to do. But we want you guys to have the opportunity to have the same sexual thrills, but you have to do it from in-home personally. So they made Pornhub free in Italy, and now I think Pornhub is free globally to keep people from going out and kind of exercising their sexual urges. So you guys should maximize on that.
Wow.
Stay 6 feet away from your computer, though. 6 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
What the savior we didn't know we needed.
I know, right?
I would do porn. I would. My family would hold it against me.
You had to think about it for like a second. You were like, what? Should I? Yeah, all right.
No, I would totally do it.
Yeah.
I just don't, my family wouldn't allow it, and it's the upsides, unless, honestly, I would only do porn because I know I'd be a star. Not like a porno, like, actor, I'd be a porno star. Like, far above Ron Jeremy type. But honestly, as I said, family's in a religious place, and, I care too much about them. I'm willing to make sacrifices because I'm that kind of guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are the savior we didn't know we needed, turns out.
I'm going to come away from this podcast just thinking, man, he was way more humble than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
Way more.
What are you talking about? This has nothing to do, literally. I'm not even being braggadocious. I'm just telling you. Like, why would you start anything if you didn't want to be a star? It's like if you started at a grocery store and you were bagging groceries to start and you were just like, I'm comfortable doing this for the rest of my life. That's one kind of person. But if you got in there and you're like, I'm going to work my way all the way up to the manager, and then I'm going to own at least 3 locations by the time I'm 40, that's the kind of attitude I got.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I am completely in sync with that mindset. Like, I've said that for a long time. Whatever you're going to do, just be the damn best at it. Like, so and I do believe that people are the best, or the people that are the best people are the best at anything you ask them to do. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, so, you're great at OCR. If you quit OCR today, I'm convinced if you quit OCR today and said, all right, I'm going to do CrossFit full time, it's all I'm going to do, you'd be the best at it. And if you want to bag groceries, you'd be the best at it. You want to be a porn star, you'd be the best at it. So pick what you want to do. Go be a porn star. Be great.
I tell everybody
make that money.
There's also another really good thing. It's like, when you tell your story, if you're not excited about it, then nobody else is going to be excited about it. Like, I'm friends with a bunch of comedians, and like one of the first rules that they always say is like, if you tell a joke and you don't laugh, nobody else is going to laugh. Like, you have to start the energy from within and then exuberate it out. And basically, like, you gotta, it's contagious. And like, that's the whole new way I got to the CrossFit Games. I remember it started June 7th, maybe in 2018. Was it 2018? No. Yeah, maybe around then. I was like, I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games. And people are like, what? I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games. I found out about this wild card rule. I'm just going to go. I'm going to call Greg Glassman. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I contacted this PR agency. I started telling everybody about it. I was like, yep, totally going to go to the games. Everyone's like, you're not going to race at all this year? My sponsor's like, you're not going to race? Like, you got to run? I was like, no, I'm going to make it to the games. Don't worry about it. Just trust me on this one. And I just started telling everybody. And now even the best CrossFit Games athletes are like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, going to the games. I'll be competing right next to you. No big deal. Are you going to do the open? I'm like, well, I might do it, but I'll definitely be at the games. And like, that's how it started. And you got to keep on just trucking. You got to keep on telling everybody what's going on and how excited you are about it, how awesome it's going to be when it happens, blah, 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 blah. So that's what's made my life successful, is just continuing on that path and that kind of circumstance. So anybody who's listening, you might as well start picking it up and going the same way.
You might as well. You're faking it till you're making it, man.
Yeah. So WWE and Poor next.
Wow. It's going to be busy. How are you going to have time for the games?
I have a calendar right there. So I've got, I'll just block it in. How it goes. Yeah. I got to keep that shit together.
What
So
do you do? No, you go.
ahead.
No, you
No.
go. No,
I'll talk to
you.
my-
No, you hang up first, and then I'll.
Would you say, I'm just curious because I just got off the phone with somebody else. I always want to I want to know the buzz around town. Would you say that this is going to birth a stronger version of the CrossFit industry, or is it going to take this whole new sanctional world spread of like international competition and knock CrossFit down like 10 steps way back from where it was just a couple years ago?
All right, Nikki, you go first. I think we may have
All right.
different opinions on this.
Well, I think it kind of depends on how you measure success of CrossFit, right? Because in the community sense, I think that we'll come back stronger. I think we'll have new people who are interested in trying us out. I think that we will have people who have been starved for fitness, who have seen crazy CrossFit coaches putting on Zoom classes and free classes and all this shit. And like, maybe they were too scared to walk into a gym, so they will in the future. And, you know, that will breed future CrossFitters to get better, to be elite, to go to competition, to get to games. Like, all that will be strong as fuck. I think that the sanctional directors who have had to cancel or postpone or do a whole bunch of bullshit to deal with coronavirus right now, a lot of them probably won't be back next year. So in the international elite competition circuit, I think that we will not be at the volume that we were at this year, but I also think the volume we were at this year was too great to begin with. So
the amount of athletes?
No, the amount of competitions, the amount of sanctionals in the season. So I feel awful for the people who are out a shitload of money, who are pouring their heart and soul into planning these events, and they might not be able to come back next year because they were out so much. But like, will that hurt us overall? In like, you know, will we not come back stronger because we don't have as many events next year? I don't know, because I think there were too many this year to begin with.
If I was a riverboat gambler, which I am, I'm gambling that 30 to 50% of CrossFits around the world are literally living like paycheck to paycheck. And I would assume that the majority of them are going to close because of this. Majority of those 30 to 50%?
Okay, so I would say not up to 50. My guess is like 20 to 30% are definitely doing the like non-paycheck to paycheck, or like what John gave really great dad advice on a podcast we recorded a little bit ago, where he was like, all you business owners need to start thinking about your actual business plans and like how the fuck you're going to survive this. And like, it was great. So I think 20 to 30% are more along those lines. And I would venture a guess that, yeah, maybe 20% will end up shuttering. But I think also like, it depends on where. Like here in the States with the Paycheck Protection Act and with the small business loans, like I think a lot of them are being helped out if they understand how to apply for that shit and, you know, have done their reading and research, because it's wicked complicated.
They're not getting that money, Nikki. That's the problem. Like,
So?
I'm in banking. No, they're not getting the money. Like the government, we ran out of money. Government ran out of money. Like,
well, but you don't think in the first round of things they were?
I think a lot of them didn't. I think you're both right to some degree. I think Hunter's number is probably more accurate. Like the 50% number is probably right, but you won't see the CrossFits actually shutter. What you'll see happen is it'll change ownership. So the elite will survive, meaning the best gyms absolutely are going to make it. And the people that have been going to these gyms are going to, you know, are going to value the dollars they're spending more. So they'll move their memberships there. The gyms that are living hand to mouth, and I think Hunter's right, like probably close to half are living that way. A lot of them will close or they'll just simply sell. And the reason they won't just shutter the doors is the entry fee to get into CrossFit is so cheap. There's plenty of people out there that have always wanted to own one that will come in and buy them on the cheap, right?
Do you think even after all of this?
Absolutely. Like this local gym here I'm very familiar with that they opened, you know, several years ago it cost them $100,000 to open, right? You go buy all the gear, you buy the rubber flooring, blah, 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 blah. I spent $100,000, you know, first year in. And then 4 or 5 years later, they sold the thing for $50,000. because they had to. And it's
Lost a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and it's going to be exactly the same thing here. You're going to have a ton of gyms that have invested 50 to 75,000 to open. They're, knee deep in debt right now, and creditors are calling, and I'm going to get the hell out of Dodge. I'll sell this thing for 40 grand. I'll pay 20 out of pocket and be done with it. And they'll have so they'll never close, but you'll have new owners. And so I think you'll see a lot of that.
One of my buddies who has the most successful CrossFit gym in the country is breaking even, and this dude's a superstar. And I'm like, if you're breaking even, then what the hell is happening to everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a tough business model, man. It's really tough. Like, people look at it and go, "Oh, it's just printing cash," and some of them do, but when you really think about it, like, this is the most disposable income anyone has.
Mm-hmm.
You would literally, you'll cancel CrossFit before you cancel anything else. Like, before you cancel your cable, you would cancel CrossFit, because you can get the workouts for free on CrossFit.com. Like, people aren't dumb. For the $1,800 a year you spend in a membership, you can build a home gym. I did that for a whole year. It's exactly how I did the math. I'm like, $1,800, I'll go buy a rower on the cheap. I'll get a rig, barbell. I can do it all at home. And I did.
I don't know. I think I'm the kind of person that I wouldn't work out by myself. I wouldn't follow programming without other people. Like, I need the accountability, and I like the community.
I get that. And that's why I went back. A lot of people do that. But I think a lot of people are learning right now during this that, hey, I can be more self-sufficient, and I need to be way more selective with my dollars. And Hunter's spot on here. Like, most of these guys aren't business owners. Like, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And even the really good ones are really struggling to break even. Like, it's going to be a big change coming soon. Like, it really is. And if we come out of the quarantine, like in the next 30 days, which is possible, you'll see more of them survive, but the economy's got to get kicked back in, or these guys are screwed. Because you think about,
I'm just wondering if that's directly going to reflect on how the results of the games happen for the next several years. Because let's say the low side, 20% of these gyms close, and 20% of them close, and then let's say 20 to 30% of the members from all of these things are lost permanently. That's a significant amount of money and people really interested in the sport. And then it's also a significant amount of money that hits the sponsors that are involved with the sport, because they're selling products to those members that are now lost. Now they lose the money, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And also, you got to imagine those little companies like that had just started and were really busting their ass. Like, this is my year. I'm going to make it. We're going to the CrossFit Games. People are going to buy our stuff. They're going too. They're toast.
Totally.
And I know a lot of people are buying fitness gear right now, but I don't think a lot of people are buying like knee sleeves. I don't think a lot of people are buying like tape for their hands. I don't think a lot of people are buying super expensive specialty supplements, like all this kind of stuff that's, the sprinkles on top of the cake that aren't necessarily isn't the meat and potatoes of getting the job done. So I'm curious, because I'll admit I had 4 sponsors before this. 2 of them are gone.
Really?
2 of them are gone. Yeah. And I totally get it. Like, what am I doing? I'm not in the warehouse, like, taping up boxes and mailing them out to customers. I'm not an essential to the business model. And I had a bunch of other sponsors on the hook, and those guys are gone. And I don't imagine the first thing they're going to do when doors open back up, they're like, we need to call Hunter ASAP. So it's interesting. Like, I can only imagine what the heck's going to happen. Like, especially those CrossFitters that were not the Pat Bellners, Matt Frazier's, Sarah Sigmund's daughters, and T.H. Claire Toomey's. That wave that's just underneath, like the Spencer's, the one who connected us. I'm sure Spencer's a smart guy and has his stuff together, but if he had all of his poker chips put down on being a professional athlete, that dude was right on the cusp of becoming a regular CrossFit Games athlete. Now he's getting pushed back down towards, like, I'm going to have to go get a job, doing construction, something like that. Like, all these guys who are right on the cusp, and chicks who are right on the cusp of becoming great and making money, bam. All those dollars that they were expecting are gone, and they're going to go back towards the athletes that are certains rather than maybes. So it's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah, what we're hoping for, what I'm hoping for, is that I think CrossFit has a real opportunity during this downturn to be the only sport that's still performing and to get a lot of visibility they wouldn't have gotten before. So I think there's an opportunity for them to capitalize that could trickle back down to those athletes you're describing. But I think, the bulk of CrossFit is going to be in a real hard place for the next, 12 to 18 months. You got 9% unemployment right now. All those people that aren't working, they're not paying for CrossFit. Like, as much as I love my coaches, like, I've continued to pay my membership because I'm working. Right. But I'm working. If I wasn't working, I love Saxon and Spencer. I'd cancel my membership because that $300 a month I pay for me and my daughter needs to go to groceries. And that's the way everyone thinks. It's going to be a hard road for people, but
it's going to be tough. But I guess I just think that it's all going to come back. I think the fact that CrossFitters are like gear junkies and like consumerism was like made for us. Like, I don't know why we have these personalities where we want all the latest things and the swag and the sprinkles on top of the cake. Like, eventually I just think when things feel back to normal, and it's going to take a while. Like, it's not like they lift the bans and we all go back to class and everything's back to normal. Like, it's going to be a while and we're going to be affected by this for a long time. But I just think eventually, like, the pendulum swings back the other way and we are like back to being the community that we were.
Oh, it will. It will absolutely come back to where it is and continue to grow. I mean, it's like the stock market. It's not going to, crater out and just go away. But, we're not looking at, all right, we're going to lift the quarantine and next month we're going to be good. Like, you're going to see gyms close. Like, you've got this whole curve around, people dying, God forbid. You'll see the same thing around these branches. Like, we're nowhere near the curve on these gyms dying. Like, you're going to see over the next 6 months, closure after closure after closure. And we're going to go from 15,000 open affiliates to 13 to 12 to 11. I mean, that's a very, very real thing. And
I have an idea.
Okay.
It could save CrossFit.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm assuming CrossFit is the kind of business structure that's like $1 in, $5 out. They're spending at the rates where they're assuming that money's going to come in, but they're
You
spending.
mean like HQ, CrossFit HQ, not like affiliates?
Yes, CrossFit HQ. If you want to go to the CrossFit Games this year, if you're outside of the top 20 people that made it in through the Open, or you can pay your way into the CrossFit Games.
Ooh.
The next 20 highest bidders can make their way in. I know dudes who are super millionaires who are CrossFit fans. They'd pay $5 million to come in a person. You definitely get some of those guys. All those people who go to the Dubai Fitness Championships, those dudes will pay like $20 million to come. And they'll show up. They won't be able to pick up a damn bar. But
they'll get to say they competed at games.
Get to say they competed at the games, and they fund the CrossFit season for the next year and save everybody.
I'm all just in on this idea. I am all in.
Listen, Greg Glassman.
People with money want to pay, and they'll make it so that we can actually watch the fittest win, and they'll make it so that we can funnel money back to affiliates and shit. I'm fucking down. Let's do it.
See, I'll be the broker for it because a man with a mustache needs to be in that position.
Agreed. I'll do the marketing because that's what I do full time.
Financial structure? Yes. We have a team.
We're in. John.
Just saying.
You're the face.
Let's make it happen.
I've already done it once before. I could get everybody into the CrossFit Games for high ticket prices.
Well,
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Somebody's going to need to do it. Like, these sanctionals are going to struggle, dude. Like, there's no money in running a competition anyway. So, Nikki's spot on. I bet a bunch of these sanctionals go away. And truthfully, I kind of hope they do. I mean, I don't mean to sound negative, but it just feels like there's too many sanctionals. Like,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it kills me that these people like invested their time and effort, energy, and money, like so much money. But like, I do think that the season was so jammed up that I wouldn't mind.
When obstacle course racing started, there was like 10 major companies, 2 that were massive, and then 10 other ones that were billing still significant amounts of money and having lots of people go through. And that illegitimized our sport. People would be like, you do mud runs professionally? Like, my daughter did a warrior dash. I'm like, no, shut up. It's not like that. And it made me look really stupid. So you guys are kind of having the reverse, because what's happening is I'm not going to specifically name any one sanctional, but if one sanctional does a very poor job of representing what CrossFit really is and what CrossFit Games potentially can be, it does a bad job, gives it a worse reputation than it deserves to have. and then continues to kind of like, it only just takes a couple drops of oil to kind of, basically ruin a whole pot of water type thing. So what I'm saying is like when we first started, there was Superhero Scramble, there was Atlas Race, there was like these color runs and stuff, and everybody thought what I was doing was like a joke. And now all of those things have been kind of weeded out and failed over time. Now that's all that's left is Obstacle Course Racing Championships, Tough Mudder, and Spartan Race. And those are companies that are putting through several million people through their system a year, are super legit. All their operations, their staffing, everything is just run just like the CrossFit Games on some form of scale. And it's incredible. If you go, you're like, oh, wow, this is really a sporting event. Like, there's TV cameras here from CBS and everything. And like that, if I showed somebody that, they'd be like, okay, now I totally get what you do as professional. So I will agree that, like, I even joked around with a couple of my friends. I was like, wait a second, maybe I have you buy a sanctional and then all of a sudden create the sanctional and create all the workouts so that I can get directly into the CrossFit Games. And that's how we'll make it happen from this point on. Like, you could basically do that if you were clever enough. Be like, oh, all of the running events, it's like 9 events, all are running. I'm like, oh, Hunter McIntyre wins, goes to the games. Like, yeah.
I really like how your plan to save CrossFit just morphed into another way to get you back to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Listen, I've got a million ideas. We could sit here for hours. But I'm saying, like, you have a point there. Like, it will probably weed out some of the ones that don't necessarily need to be there when it comes to the future of the sport progressing in a positive way. So even though unfortunate, may be valuable.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, I've said for a while that I'd like to see them have these sanctionals be a little more formatted. Like, last year I went to several, and I'll name the names because they were all great events. So I'm not slamming the events. I went to the MAC in April, and it was a great event. They brought in Nikki, who did a great job.
That was why it was a great event.
It
Obviously.
was.
Congratulations.
Yes. And they had, broadcast and internet, whatever. The first prize was $5,000, $5,000 to go compete for a weekend. And then 4 weeks later, I go to the Rogue Invitational, and first prize is like $50,000. You're like, now how do you do that? You've got one weekend where you got people qualifying, winning $5,000, and if you don't win, you lost money to go, right? And then you've got the next weekend, if you win Rogue, you get $50,000. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
Well,
like
then you have events like Dubai that pay out the entire way. Like, they pay you once you qualify. You know what I mean? To like hopefully cover your, like, if you qualify, you make like $1,000 or something like that, so that at least you can buy a plane ticket and you're not like out a whole shitload of money. And then they pay out down the line, like, I don't know, not the whole thing, but like the first 20 places make money. Not a lot, but something.
Yeah, it's just weird. There's just no other sport that does, or at least, you look at the, kind of the big sports, like nobody does that. It's just kind of ridiculous.
These all sound like CrossFitter problems. I go to a race sometimes. I mean, I had to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not doing this shit anymore. But I went to a race. The last Spartan race I went to was in 2018, and it was a stadium race. And I love stadium races, but I rolled my ankle and ripped the ligaments in my ankle. And if I was winning, if I won, I would have made $800.
What?
$800 fucking dollars. And I do this full time. And I had sponsors that obviously made my life a lot better than an $800 paycheck. But the amount of money that I spent on hospital bills doesn't even come close to the $800 worth of, that I would have won. And then 6 weeks later, I went and raced and I won $25,000. And I just said, no. I was like, 1, I have to respect myself as an athlete. 2, I have to mitigate risk. But, at least $5,000 you guys are getting regularly at the sanctionals. Spartan race, I make fun of them all the time. I'll call the CEO and I was like, honestly, like, I could probably make more money playing like handball in a court in Rhode Island in the summertime, just hustling older men. Like, you
absolutely actually could.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, your sport's a freaking joke. I was like, you can't call this professional. Our sport, basically, their way of like duping athletes into thinking that they're professional athletes is they give $500 for first place every single weekend, every single race around the entire world. What if they did it properly? They take out all of these like ho-hum races and just make them regular races that you could win maybe sponsorship gear or like a free flight somewhere or something, and put all the money on like 10 big races. Professional athletes like myself could win $20,000 to $30,000 every single time we won, and they get paid out kind of like at the Dubai Fitness Championships, all the way down to like 10th place.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would make the aspect of being a professional athlete in a professional sport more realistic, because I don't know if you've ever seen this. You probably don't pay attention too much to it, but a lot of these jabrones who do obstacle course racing, they're like elite professional athlete on their tag. And I was like, one, no. Two, like what gives you the right to say that? Like, you wore a t-shirt and someone put like a sticker on it that said you're sponsored? Like, no, like you have to take, like, if you want to get in bodybuilding, you have to get a pro card. Like, bodybuilding is not even a real sport, but at least they take enough seriousness of the event that you have to have a pro card to go to a pro event. You have to earn your way up the ladder. In Spartan racing and in obstacle course racing, they're like, well, you know, if you show up and you wear this t-shirt and take a picture for us, you're a pro athlete now. Like, no. So
Really?
yeah, it's really embarrassing.
Oh, I didn't know that was how it worked.
Incredible. Yeah, it's insanely embarrassing. I mean, they're at the point now where they've narrowed it down just a little bit, to the point where you have to race maybe like one of 5 races and come within like 150th place to earn a spot to the world championship, which is ridiculous. Because if you go to the world championships in Tahoe for Spartan race, it's 300 people. There's 5 people that really are going to do something, and then there's 295 people that are going to get in the way of everybody else doing something.
Well, that's fine. That's what we should make the games. We just make those 295 people pay their way in.
They did. They're called national champions. That's what they did last year.
Come on.
It's true.
Terrible.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
That was different. That was an initiative to make CrossFit more of a globally inclusive sport.
I loved it. That was not a complaint. I loved seeing the national champions there. I watched the parade coming in. I got teary-eyed like everybody else.
I had goosebumps. I thought it was rad.
But come on. Like, these guys were making a long trip for free pair of no balls. That's basically what it came down to.
I just had this conversation. It's going to be 5 years until those spots from national champions. And like, I actually met the guy from Latvia and I made fun of him. I was like, oh, the Latvian champ's here. Like, I thought he was a nobody. Uldis is a monster.
Yeah, Uldis is intense.
He's a monster. I had no freaking clue. I was like, what's a guy from Latvia going to do?
Yeah, he's actually a really good athlete.
He's a monster. But there's people from other countries who are just filling in the gaps, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, everybody deserves to have a spot, but you're not going to see those spots filled with true titans, I would say, for another 5 years. So,
but that was never the point. So I'm fine. Yeah. Like, I don't need them to be filled with titans. I need them to be representative of the fact that, like, we have CrossFit in all of these countries, and these people who, you know, and they know that they're putting up the money to get cut in the first round, whatever, but they are proud as fuck. And I think that's rad.
That is rad, but it's almost like the sport of gladiators back in the day. Like,
which was amazing. Do not shit on gladiators.
And then you have these, like, you like basically chum the water with a bunch of people that are going to get run over by the beasts. And I think that if you want to increase the professionalism of a sport, you don't allow everybody and their grandmother to show up to the party. You freaking bring the beasts in and you do something really badass. That's why the Olympics is such like Olympics is inclusive for all the countries, but honestly, I think they narrow things down to be like to a certain amount that the capacity can be handled. And I think the capacity of the games last year could have been better if there was less people.
See, I disagree. I liked the way that it was laid out, and the placement of the cuts is not this conversation. That's different. But I like that day one was this big global festival with this parade of people, and it felt like whatever. And then it was cut, and we did get to see the Titans, and we did see the fittest on earth. And like, I liked that it shook out that way. 'Cause like, I don't need all the, like, I can see those people and watch them be proud to be there and be impressed at the globalization of our sport and what we're doing for health and fitness around the world. And then like, yeah, then show me the big guns. And that's exactly what we did.
Well, there's a difference though.
What happened on the front end made suffering on the back end.
How so?
I'm saying if you look back, I'm a CrossFit fan. That's why I wanted to go to the CrossFit Games. If you look back several years ago and what happened at the CrossFit Games, the scale of what these guys did, I think, was on a larger scale, more intense challenges, more incredible equipment was offered for the athletes to challenge themselves, so on and so forth. But they focused on the budget and the whatever you call it, logistics of taking in 150 athletes rather than having 40 athletes being tested at the greatest capacity possible. And I'll end it there because I know you want to say something, John, but that was the point I was trying to make.
Well, I think we're on the exact same page, though. I mean, like I agree with Nikki that I love the Olympics and like the Olympic vibe it gave off. The difference is in the Olympics, for instance, like if you watch true Olympic weightlifting, you don't see 120 people out there lifting. There's 10 because they've already narrowed it down. And it's usually 5 Chinese, a couple of Russians, and 1 American, like that's the way it ends up. Like, I think we would have been better served last year and in years future, bring in all the national champions and make them compete against themselves for a full day. And you don't bring any of the top 40 in. You let all those national champions prove that they deserve to be there. And then you pick 5 of them and let them compete with the remaining 40. Because you don't see that at the Olympics. You don't see 120 of anybody in any event. Like they always narrow it down to the best 10 to 15 or whatever it is. Like it just doesn't make sense to have 140 men out there. And truthfully, like I was at that dinner and I met Hunter that night and I'd never seen him in person and he walked up. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's huge.
You guys locked eyes.
Yeah, we did. I rubbed his hair.
Magic.
I played with his mullet. It was great. And then I met a couple other national champions who were smaller than me. And I'm like, what the hell are these guys doing here? Like, they're just going to get creamed. And they did. Like, they couldn't do the rope climbs even. Like, it's like, nothing against them. They deserve to be there. They did not deserve to be competing against.
I guess I hear both of you, and I don't think that you guys are wrong. I just am looking at the issues very independently of one another. Like if you're talking about like the diversion of resources to the national champions and how that took away from the rest of the competition that we could have or should have had, that is a completely different issue. And you're probably right, but I'm just looking at the format the way it is and having those people there representing the level of fitness and skill work that they have does not bother me, because I know it's going to filter into the top 5 and the top 10. And I want to see both. Like I want to see the big parade of nations and I want to see it all filter into the fittest on earth. And I don't know. I wish there was unlimited funds and resources in between so that I didn't have to factor that into my argument either.
We probably continue to get that because that's what they're keeping, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe you should move to some little pissant country across the world and then you just qualify every year. Just,
Remember when Jacob said that when that first came out?
I thought about it, but then I realized that I want to enjoy life. I think I lost a lot. Listen, I'm glad that I did it, but if I could choose right now between doing what I'm doing professionally or CrossFit professionally, even if I made 5x what I do now in CrossFit, I would still do what I'm doing now. My life is a lot of fun. Every professional CrossFitter I've ever spent time with lives between 2 multicolored bumper plates and spends most of their time in like sweaty, nasty gyms and is looking at like, tempo squats and walking on your hands and doing stuff that just to me doesn't necessarily reflect the kind of life that I want to live. And I'm glad that everybody else has found passion behind it, because I love athletes who push themselves, and that's why I've always surrounded myself with CrossFitters, because they tend to push themselves harder than anybody else. But like right now, I'm in Boulder, Colorado. I lived here last year training for the games. I went up to climb the mountains less than 5 times. I'll climb a mountain like 5 days a week now. And we'll chug beer, and then we'll go whitewater rafting, and we'll still crush weights and do stuff. But like I'm maybe in the gym a third of the time compared to what I was last year. And I'm having way more fun, and I feel more athletic and healthy, to be honest too. So yeah, I don't think I would move to Latvia to compete against Oldest for that spot.
You wouldn't win.
I know, dude, that little freaking muscle hobbit. He's a monster. I still like look at him on Instagram every once in a while, and I'm like, what in the world are you doing right now? Like, how would you have so much power in that little body?
Yeah, I don't understand.
He'll be a podium contender in the next couple of years if he keeps up doing what he's doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
He did well in Dubai too.
Dude,
like
he's
at these other competitions. Yeah.
He's just one of those kind of guys who I look at him and I'm like, you are a version of RoboCop. He has no soul. There's like part man in him, but the rest of him is just meant for destroying. So he's going to do well.
I think
I'm
all of
pumped for
those
that guy.
elite athletes are like part bionic. Like there's no way. There's no way they're human. There's like how can they move like that and recover like that? Like there's some weird like backroom science shit going on somewhere. There's no way those are 100% humans.
Well, there's a body type, then there's a mindset, and then there's genetic potential. Genetic potential is the only essential that you have to have. The most important thing. That's the one factor you have to have. I would say then mindset's probably the second most important thing, and then body type's the third most important thing. Because you look at the games, the 10 people who ended up in the finals were, basically could all fit in my shoes that I was wearing when I was in 5th grade. Like they're
Except for
tiny
James.
people. No, James is tiny, man. Like he's a man, but he's not a big man.
No, he's a tall dude. He's a big tall. No, he's not like you.
I'm saying like I'm gonna say like
out there who's
5.
6'3".
He's maybe 5'10".
I think he's taller than that. I don't know. He looked really tall next to us in Baltimore.
I think he's probably 5. I'm 6 feet. I think he's 5'10".
Was he not your height?
If you put, I just wanted you to know, like, let's say we all got on school buses and all went to a football field, all the best athletes in the world from the sport, and you took the top 10 from all of them, you'd show up with those guys and they'd be like, wait a second, like, are these like, do these guys do professional curling or do they all do circus tricks together? Like, what do they do?
Yes, there's a body type.
That's what you'd assume. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're total beasts. But I was saying those 3 factors, those are it. I would say they do have something special, which is the genetic type. But then the second most important thing is that mindset. There's something twisted inside of all of them.
Totally.
It actually wouldn't be a school bus on her. It'd be like a small fire engine.
Oh, God.
That would be. You could fit them in all of them on one rickshaw. Yeah.
Pretty much. I think you should trademark the term muscle hobbit. I think that's the best term I've heard tonight. Put that on a t-shirt.
Muscle hobbit?
Muscle hobbit. I think you could put that on a t-shirt, sell it at the games. It'd be great. Probably make more money
100%.
selling a shirt than actually winning the games.
That's what I would do, dude. I could start selling these shirts now, and then I will use that funding to pay for myself to go to the games on my new structure.
There you go. Done.
Then I will market for you. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it.
Thank you very much. The business plan is coming together.
Let's go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're kind
fun.
we're up against time here, Hunter, but we appreciate you being on, man. It's been a lot of fun. And now I've got a new inspiration to grow my stash out. So
Me too.
You should, dude. Quarantine stashes are important. Oh, can I just share with you guys one thing I need help with? If you guys, I'm lucky to have your time, but I just want to share something. I am currently working really, really hard right now, and I think everyone else should try to give it a try too, to go after the Murph World Record. And I'm putting together some pieces to make it a charity event where I'm working with Team RWB, and we're all going to get together down in North Carolina at a gym. And I know a lot of people at home don't have the opportunity to go to gyms, and a Murph, unless you don't have a pull-up bar, you can do almost every single movement in Murph in a parking lot, and basically get the work done and maybe trade out the pull-ups if you don't have a bar. But I think with all of us not having anything to do and no gyms or anything to train for, Murph's a really awesome opportunity for everyone to have a blast and put a target on something over the next month. So I'll share with you guys, if you're cool with it, a link to what we're doing. And if anybody's interested in watching, we're putting together a whole docu-series about leading up to it. And I think this is one of the first opportunities I've ever had in life to work with a charity rather than focus on winning races. So I'm pretty pumped about it. And if anybody's interested, you guys can DM me or find that information online.
So cool. And RWB is such a great organization. They do
I'm really pumped.
work.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
What's the time? Like, what do you need to beat to get the new world record?
So I've done all the research, and I cannot find anybody's actual documented time with judges and officials behind it besides the times of the CrossFit Games. So unpartitioned is 38 minutes plus by BKG, and then 34:40 by Josh Bridges. And I've broken both times on my own in my gym, but I'm going to make sure that there's judges and it's going to be recorded and everything, so nobody can throw stones at me and say you're a bullshitter. So, on my own, I've been training really hard for it, but there's potential. People say out there that they've done it in 25 minutes, but if you do the math on it, it's like a 5-minute flat mile with a weight vest on, and meaning you're doing 40 pull-ups or 40 push-ups every minute on the minute. So like there's some mutants out there that supposedly did it, but I don't think anybody's ever broken 30, and I'm trying to go sub 30.
Wow. And you have to do it on partition? Like you're going to do it straight through?
Yeah, I'm going to do it exactly the way that Michael Murphy created it. So I'm just going to get after it, charge through it, have a blast, raise some money for charity, and hopefully by the time, this adventure's over, we have a little bit more clarity in life of what's going to be the next chapter for everybody. And I think it's a great goal for myself at least, and anybody else who's motivated to do it.
I love it.
Yep.
What
Let's
a
do
great
it.
idea.
Yeah. So thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's great. We'll love to help with the charity. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Awesome,
thanks for being on, Nikki. Great seeing you again in your ears. I'm sure we're doing this probably tomorrow night again. I don't know.
I think we are.
Who knows? Who knows? All right. Well, for everyone listening, thanks for being on, and we will chat with you guys soon.